The former US President Bill Clinton has told members of Congress that he did nothing wrong in his ties with Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton gave a deposition to members of a congressional committee at a closed-door session in New York State. He released a statement ahead of that, saying he had seen no sign of the abuse carried out by Epstein. Bill Clinton is not accused of any wrongdoing in the case. His statement followed that of his wife Hillary Clinton, who on Thursday told the panel she does not recall ever meeting Epstein. Now, ahead of Bill Clinton's deposition today, the chair of the House Oversight Committee criticized the amount of time it took to get the Clintons in for questioning.
It's very difficult to get people in for these depositions of great power and great wealth. And I used yesterday and today as an example. It took 7 months to get the Clintons in here. But we've got them in here, and we look forward to asking lots of questions that I think any curious media outlet in America would have. Yesterday, Ms. Clinton deferred a lot of questions to her husband today. There were at least a dozen times when she said, "You'll have to ask my husband that. I can't answer that." So we already had a big portfolio of questions for him, and that increased yesterday.
Now let's bring in DW's Benjamin Alvarez Gruber for more. Ben, Bill Clinton has released his opening statement ahead of his deposition. What did he say?
That's right. He posted it on X, formerly known as Twitter. He started this statement, and I quote him, "I'm here today for two reasons. The first is that I love my country, and America was built upon the idea that no person is above the law, even presidents, especially presidents." He said, as you already mentioned, he had no information of what was happening. He said, "I saw nothing," and also said, "I did nothing wrong." That's what he published ahead of this deposition. And we've heard some of the members of Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, already saying during short breaks, this is of course happening behind closed doors. They went out and told the press that he is already answering all of the tough questions, they said. So he's cooperating with the questions, both from Democrats and also from Republicans that have, as we just heard, that many questions on what former President Bill Clinton actually knew about what Jeffrey Epstein was doing.
Now, his wife Hillary was in front of the committee yesterday, and we heard the chair of the committee say that she deferred a lot of questions to her husband. What can we expect from today's hearing?
That's right. So it was her first answering these questions. There was also a picture that one of the members of Congress, a Republican, took and was quickly also making rounds on social media. What Hillary Clinton said on Twitter is she wanted this to be open, to be transparent. She said, "We will be there." It was a couple of weeks, month ago. She said she and also her husband will be answering the tough questions. She wanted this to be actually broadcast live, but Republicans were against it, afraid of what they would actually mean, because that's, of course, the question that many are asking themselves. We just heard it, that it took a lot of time for Hillary, for Bill Clinton, 7 months to actually answer these tough questions. And of course, the attention might probably soon shift to current President Donald Trump, who already reacted to this. He said it was sad for him to see Bill Clinton being asked these questions, maybe because he's afraid that this might actually open up a precedent, and that he might be next.
You just mentioned that the Democrats of the committee have said that the wrong president is being questioned, referring to Donald Trump, of course. Let's listen to what Robert Garcia had to say and then come back to you, Ben, in a minute.
Republicans have now set a new precedent, which is to bring in presidents and former presidents to testify. So we're once again going to make that call that we did yesterday. We are now asking and demanding that President Trump officially come in and testify in front of the Oversight Committee. He appears in the Epstein files next to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell almost more than anybody else. So it's time for the president to answer questions about why files are missing from the DOJ, why there's been a White House cover-up, and why we continue in that administration to call this investigation a hoax.
Now, the big question, could we see President Trump being deposed? He does appear in the Epstein files quite often.
If it's up to Democrats, they would have asked for this a while ago. We just heard from one representative saying that the White House is covering this up. There's been this criticism not only on Donald Trump, but especially on Attorney General Pam Bondi. And there has been this mounting criticism not only over the files that have been released, that not all of them have been released, how long it took to actually get the White House to release them. We just have to look back. There was a deadline that the White House did not fulfill. There were still thousands and thousands of documents that were not published. And now recently there's been also criticism on some files that actually have been uploaded to this homepage of the U.S. Department of Justice, with many still faces or names not blurred out, also protecting the victims, and many saying that they were actually the names of those who committed these sexual assaults, knew about these crimes, they were blurred out and protected, and not those of the victims. But we can expect, and that's also probably something why Republicans don't want to keep this topic open, you could say, with the Clintons, because it could easily backfire with more and more, not only Democrats, but also Republicans. Some of them saying that it should be President Trump next answering these tough questions from Democrats and from Republicans, the information that he or that other high-ranking members of the current administration had of those crimes and on what happened on that island that many refer to as Epstein Island.
DW's Benjamin Alvarez, Gruber there, reporting from Washington. Thank you, Ben.